All right, welcome to the next section on default parameter values. So default parameter values. Default parameter values allow formal parameters to be initialized with default values if no value or if the value undefined is passed in. So where this might be useful is in our last exercise where there was no name. If there was no name passed in, we could have a default value for that. So let's see what this looks like. We have an add function which accepts parameters a and b, and by default a is going to be 1 and b will equal 2, and it should return a plus b. So there's our add function. So let's look at what this will do. So if we execute add and we pass in both properties, what should it return? It should return 6, right? A is now 3, b is 3, 6. So if we pass in one property, one parameter, that this 3 that's here is going to go into a. Now a equals 3 and b equals 2. So this function would return 5. If we call it with no properties at all, then we have a is 1, b is 2. This function would return 3. So if we wanted to pass it with one undefined parameter at the beginning of the list, right, not the end. So in this line here, 3 is going to go into a because that's the first in the parameter list, right? If we want the first in the parameter list to be empty, we'd specifically pass in the value undefined. And so this would return by default now b is, or by not by default, but b is 5 and a is by default 1. So this would return 6. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the activity. Write a greet function that accepts a person's name and has a default parameter if no name is passed in, and returns a salutation. I'll go ahead and pause the video now and do that activity. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and write this function. So we have a greet function of const greet is a function which accepts a name, and by default that name should be the string anon. And what that returns, we'll use another template literal, is hello. And then we're going to embed the variable name in there, the parameter name. I'll open up the console and see what that looks like. So console.log greet of nothing. It's going to say hello anon. Let's make it uppercase just cuz. So if we passed in greet of Dave, it'll say hello Dave. All right, that's default parameter values. All right, the next section is destructuring assignments. Let's go there now.